Before I got into running, my hobby was using drugs and alcohol and, just generally creating a lot of chaos in my life and everyone else's lives. I ran a total of like 2 weeks on my hometown cross-country team, but I was quickly admonished from the team for a string of bad behavior. Right around the time I was 15, I started running daily, like 7 miles every day, long runs on the weekend, and ran my first marathon when I was 16. Finding running really was kind of this new outlet for channeling a lot of that energy into something a lot more positive. My name is John Storkamp. I'm 39 years old, and I'm a trail and ultra runner. I've participated in about 120 marathons and ultra marathons to date, and at least half, if not a majority of those, have been trail races. When I started running roads, I never even had heard a term of trail running and didn't even understand it as a concept. But in the early 2000s, I started to get the itch to maybe do a race that was longer than the marathon distance. As I learned of the ultra races, I learned that some of them were on trails and started to specifically seek out trails to go do my daily runs and my long runs on. I think it was back in the mid-2000s or early 2000s, Runner's World magazine had done an article that featured Afton State Park as one of the premier trail running destinations in the country. And so just as I was getting into trail running, I was learning this information. And Afton's just this perfect venue. It's this great mix of prairies, river valley, craggy limestone, descents and ascents. And so you get a little bit of everything out there, but generally it is just such a challenging place to run, but at the same time you're rewarded with all this beauty. Running on trails just filters out all the noise. Obviously you don't have the traffic and you don't have the infrastructure, so it seems to bring you to definitely more of a primal place. It's the same thing that we would have done, hundreds of years ago. And so it seems to scratch this itch that just about nothing else can for me. I direct several of the larger trail and ultra running races in the state of Minnesota. And I've always joked that directing races was just an excuse for me to get people to wear my artwork. So you take 4 shirts a year times 10 years, and that's 40 shirts. And I've done or I've created maybe 35 unique posters over the years. For people that are interested in getting into trail running in Minnesota, I tell them you don't need anything too fancy or too special right off the bat. You can take the shoes you've been wearing on the roads and the same gear you've always been using and just get in your car and drive out to one of the local county parks and go out for a jog. Start with one of the places that's a little less challenging to run and then move up to the bluffs at Afton or whatever it might be. On an ideal scenario, being out on the trail and running, there's nothing going through your head. I've always told people that it's the quickest way to get into meditation. That mechanism of running brings you to a place of calm and peace, and eventually the head empties out and the stresses of the day go away and you find that place of peace. So I think as fun as running can be and as good for your physical health as it can be, that's a real reason that I keep lacing up my shoes and heading out the door.